Welcome in to Boston Has Entered the Chat. If you love this show, and I know you do, make sure you check out Foxborough Rush as well on NESN. Hey, George and I talked to Sean McGuire about the fallout from the Jerod Mayo firing, and it's a lot of fallout. Check that out. Foxborough Rush is available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else you get your podcast. All right, let's get into it. Get in here. Enter the chat, would ya? Welcome to Boston Has Entered the Chat. Travis Thomas here with George Balecki, and you know where we're going. Usually, George and I are talking about what we did over the weekend, how much fun we've had, and not today. We got to get right into this Jerod Mayo firing.
Yep.
Before we get there, I will give you your props, sir. You are a fortune teller. You literally... practically, a year ago to the date almost.
January 12th, he was announced as the next head coach. January 11th, excuse me.
Who's counting? I mean, you literally told me, happy for Jerod Mayo, historic moment for the Patriots, but Mike Vrabel was right there. He was a better option, Trav. And here we are a year later. Jerod Mayo flames out, gets whacked. Mike Vrabel's still available.
Yep.
Here's a tweet. Patriots parting ways with head coach Jerod Mayo. I mean, George, I'm not going to say you saw this coming. You didn't say he's going to get fired after a year, but you said at the time there were better options to be had, Mike Vrabel being one of them. Here we are a year later, still having the same conversation.
Yeah. It's when you go back to just think of the order of all this happening. January 12th, 2023, the Patriots put out the press release that the New England Patriots and head coach Bill Belichick have begun contract extension discussions with Jerod Mayo that would keep him with the team long term. Once that goes out, that's not a normal press release put out by a team. Everyone said that's a little interesting. Jerod Mayo at the time is getting interest as a defensive coordinator or a head coach for other NFL teams. That announcement goes out, everyone knows, okay, there has to be something in his contract that said, hey, you're going to have a bigger role and you'll be the head coach one day. Then you go back another year forward, January 11th, 2024. Jerod Mayo is announced as the next head coach of the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
Robert Kraft going with his guy. Someone that at the time we said, okay, let's see how this works. He was the de facto defensive coordinator, learned from Bill Belichick, only a coach for 5 years, but let's see. My gripe was they didn't do any head coaching search at all, didn't interview a single candidate. And Mike Vrabel at the time was available as a head coaching candidate. The Patriots end the season 4-13. The kiss of death, a 23-16 win over the Buffalo Bills third stringers. They go from the number 1 overall pick to the 4th overall pick. And Jerod Mayo, an hour after the game goes final, announced by the Patriots themselves that he is no longer the head coach of the New England Patriots. Midway into the season, we go, let's see if there's some improvement. And there wasn't.
There wasn't.
Look, communication between him and his offensive coordinator, just the overall discipline of this team, the culture you want to see from a head coach. Then the reports come out that him and Elliot Wolf weren't eye to eye or on the same page on anything. You can't have that between a general manager and a head coach. Jerod Mayo, did he do a good job as a head coach? No. Was he given a fair shot?
No.
Also no. Because the Crafts rushed him into the position.
That's right.
Put it into his contract that he'd be the next head coach after Bill Belichick, which caused Bill Belichick to alienate Jerod Mayo and said, I'm not going to help out the guy that you're going to replace me with. The Crafts put him in a tough position. The general manager they gave him, first-time GM, and a carryover from the Bill Belichick regime. There wasn't all the spending in free agency. The infrastructure wasn't there. I always talk about structure with rookies, with prospects in general, anything. The structure wasn't there.
Yeah.
This is on more than Jerod Mayo. This is on Robert Kraft and Jonathan Kraft. Making the right decision to let him go. But bringing in Mike Vrabel won't change anything, Trav. What are they going to do with the front office? What are they going to do with the structure and the resources of the football operations of the New England Patriots? That has to change. I feel bad for Jerod Mayo. He didn't do a great job as a head coach. He was given a raw deal. And you know what? For 18 weeks, he went on that podium after wins or losses, went up to that podium every Monday, every Wednesday, went on the radio every Monday, and he took every bullet for ownership and the general manager.
You never heard from him.
You never heard from them. Jerod Mayo was their fall guy, was their shield, and is now their scapegoat.
Yeah, it almost looks like this was by design. Hey, this is going to be a rebuilding year. We're going to stink. Let's throw him to the wolves.
No.
There's going to be people that think that, George.
That's fair. I don't think it was by design. I don't think the Kraft thought it would be this bad.
But
this shows you how bad it is. A guy that Robert Kraft said 5 years ago.
Yeah.
In the statement, sorry to cut you off. I have known Jerod for 17 years. He earned my respect and admiration as a rookie in 2008 and throughout his career for his play on the field, leadership in the locker room, the way he conducted himself in our community. When he joined our coaching staff, his leadership is even more evident. As I saw how the players responded to him, when other teams started requesting to interview him, I feared I would lose him and committed to making him our next head coach. Robert Kraft said that in the statement, which he opened up with, I informed Jerod Mayo, who would no longer be returning as head coach.
I agree with you. They certainly didn't set him up for success. But I also can't absolve Jerod Mayo. Putting his foot in his mouth with the media, what felt like every week.
Fair.
This team did regress. I mean, George, you can't ask for a better situation for a rebuilding team than what the Patriots had in terms of they had a late bye week in their season with a rookie quarterback. And their schedule was, we'll call it softer on the back end of that bye week. Well, you damn sure better, as a rookie head coach, make sure you come out of that late season bye with a healthy team. I know they're not very talented, but they were healthy. You come out of that bye, you got to have all your I's dotted and all your T's crossed.
Yep.
And you got to win some of these games or be competitive in some of these games. You certainly, as a rookie head coach, must make sure your part is taken care of. Your team's prepared to play. Your clock management's on point. The penalties aren't killing you. All that stuff was not the case. I told you coming out of that bye that it felt like, I believe that first game was the Cardinals, that it felt like this team has regressed.
Yep.
And that's what it was all the way down the stretch until a meaningless final game of the regular season where everyone knew you should have lost a game, and you go out and win it. The only one who didn't give a rat's ass about the draft pick was Joe Milton, and that's not his job. Kudos to Joe Milton. We'll talk about him more later.
Yeah.
But, go out and ball. That's what you're supposed to do. They win the game. Patriots dropped a 4 now in the draft. Just absolutely brutal.
So you know what's funny? You point out coming out of the bye.
Yes.
The first time we heard any national NFL reporter with rapport, with weight, like an Adam Schefter, he said on ESPN, all along the Kraft family has wanted to stand by him and give him support.
Yeah.
But over the last 30 days or so, the team has struggled. Fans have been angered, they've been apathetic, and it feels within the organization there is a shift. 30 days or so, that goes to December 1st. They lose against the Indianapolis Colts where they let up a long touchdown drive and 2-point conversion. Come out of the bye, look absolutely flat, and like a team that is just giving up on the season against the Cardinals. Lose against the Bills in a game they led 14-0. Get run off their own field against the Chargers where attendance was basically like non-existent. In the parking lot, you saw it at the concession stands. And then between all this, Dietrich Wise, a leader on defense, saying, with all due respect to Patriots Nation, they're a little spoiled about the fans booing. Jelani Tavai, a guy they gave an extension, saying there's a reason why they're fans. Sometimes they just have to know their place. What were the Krafts? What does Robert Kraft always mention he was? I was a fan sitting in the stands. The fans checked out of the Patriots. And that is what got Robert Kraft to check in on this situation.
Absolutely.
And the 30-day window you pointed out with the Cardinals, maybe it started right before that with the Colts.
Sure.
But this is something that, hey, what was it, man? Like 6 games in, you're saying, 7 games in, you were saying, I don't think you bring it back. And I go, they will. Only defense I could give is Robert Kraft handpicked them in Jerusalem 5 years ago.
Yes.
Only reason I can give it. That's how you know it was bad. Where Robert Kraft had to part ways with him, where he wanted him to succeed. Because if Jerod Mayo succeeded, who gets the credit?
Oh, he's a genius.
Robert Kraft.
Absolutely. He's a genius if that worked.
Yeah.
I told you from the beginning, I felt like because he didn't have experience as a head coach, I think the Krafts could have done right by Jerod Mayo by giving him a really high-ranking front office position, player development, anything. I don't know. But to just sort of usurp him as a head coach and just skip to the front of the line, here you go. In a rebuilding, we all knew it was going to be a rebuilding season. They did not set him up for success, no doubt about it. All right, the beauty of Boston has entered the chat is we are interactive, okay? It's me and George and you. We're all in this together. You could tweet at us using the hashtag NESN chat. You can also email us, thechat@nesn.com. And every time we give this out, email, tweet, whatever, you all respond in kind. So let's get into some of these tweets, George, because NESN put out the information that Jerod Mayo was fired, and we were getting all kinds of comments. Our guy Mark G said, not a surprise, should have been fired during the season. Now, although Mark G, he was not fired during the season, boy, it sure felt like it. Because as soon as that game went final, and we always watch the post-game press conference, it felt to me like Jerod Mayo walked off of the podium, and then we heard he was fired.
I think he knew before this game he was getting fired.
I do too.
Because it doesn't happen that quick right after.
Yeah.
There was a conversation had, I believe it could go back a week ago. Especially, Adam Schefter doesn't go on ESPN and say, I'm leaning that Jerod Mayo is out of a job without hearing something from the Crafts. He doesn't just throw that into the ether.
Yeah.
I think you go back a week ago, after that 40-7 loss to the Chargers at home. You talk about those notes that Jonathan Kraft will come to Jerod Mayo with, the debriefs that they do post-game. That stuff happens. This has been happening for a while. I think a decision was made. You lose 40-7 to the Chargers. You handle Drake May the way you did, keeping them in the game late in the fourth quarter. In a game, you are getting blown out by 33 points.
Yeah.
After he suffered a concussion where he got hit in the jaw and it looked like he went limp.
That's right.
And then your reasoning after is, well, he's a competitor, that's why I keep him in. Yeah, this was in the works.
The tweets kept rolling in. NESN, now get Vrabel in here, and let's get back to business. I mean, listen, I'll say this. Obviously, we started the show with me giving props to the fortune teller, George Malecki, for saying that, you should have hired Vrabel a year ago. And I know many of you feel that way. But now, where we are present day, George, it's a little cocky of all of us to just assume that you could just go get Mike Vrabel. And we know we've seen the reports. Vrabel's interested in the Patriots job if it is to come open several weeks ago. And now we know it is open. But I'm sure Vrabel's interested in several jobs. I mean, like, now to just assume all is going to be well, Mike Vrabel's going to be the Patriots' next head coach. That could happen. But I don't like this sort of cockiness that I'm feeling. What if the Bears make him a better offer? What if Vrabel looks at the Bears and thinks, you know what? They have a stud rookie quarterback too. They're further along in the rebuilding process than the Patriots
Ready
are.
for this really quick?
Maybe he feels a certain way that he wasn't hired when you said they should have hired him to begin with, George.
But which quarterback would you rather be the head coach for? Caleb Williams or Drake May? Hey, seriously. Seriously.
Drake May.
Yeah.
But my point is,
$132 million in cap space.
All great.
Okay.
What if he feels, you know what? I was here a year ago, and you picked that guy. And what if Vrabel feels like, I could have told you that wasn't going to work. You should have went with me a year ago. And he's going to take the call. He's going to show respect because he is a Patriot. But he could also look Robert Kraft in his face and say, I'm going to Chicago, bruh. You could have had me. They made me a better deal. I like what they're further along. I want to win now. I don't have time to rebuild. He could do that. I'm not trying to be devil's advocate here.
No.
What if he says, I would have went there a year ago, Bob. I'm not coming now. I'm going to Chicago or I'm going wherever.
They never interviewed him. He was here for the Red Jacket ceremony, got in, spoke about being New England. I think the thing that Mike Vrabel values, he knows, we'll see. We thought we knew, and then we found out this season. He knows what he's walking into every day. He knows Robert Kraft can handle him. Now, where does Jonathan Kraft lie in all this? Does Jonathan Kraft start having post-game debriefs with Mike Vrabel?
No, hell no.
Does Robin Glazer? How can you say hell no? They were doing it.
Because Vrabel's not taking that job.
How are you?
That's my point.
And that's fair. But I don't think it would be pride that keeps him from getting the job. I think it would be a red flag like that. Like Jonathan Kraft is making football decisions. Robin Glazer's. No. If I'm Mike Vrabel, you bring me in, who's going to be my GM? Now, the reports are coming out. We saw Jeff Howe put out that they're expecting to keep Elliott Wolf. I vehemently disagree with that.
Me too.
I am so against
just
bringing this front office back.
Clean house.
Everything has to go.
Yes.
But when your front office is led by Elliott Wolf, EVP of Player Personnel, has been with the Pats since 2020. Matt Groh, Director of Player Personnel, been with the Patriots since 2011. Patrick Stewart, Director of Pro Personnel, was with the Patriots from 2007 to 2017. Sam Fioroni, been with the Patriots since 2021. He's Assistant Director of Pro Personnel. All of those guys learned under Bill Belichick. If you're Robert Kraft, why did you fire Bill Belichick? Because of Bill Belichick, the GM. Bill Belichick making the personnel decisions. If I'm Mike Vrabel, I have to sign off on the GM I want to work with.
Sure.
And I would not want to work with this front office because you have a carryover from the past regime.
That's right.
What are you doing? The reason you got rid of the greatest head coach in the history of football is because his decisions as a general manager ran him out of town. And now you're telling me you're going to keep his carryovers? No. Robert Kraft took step one, which was the right step. Get rid of Jerod Mayo. Wasn't fair to him, but start anew with the coaching staff. Step two, get the football people in there to make football decisions. Robert Kraft, brilliant businessman. That's all you can say. Started a paper company from nothing and made it into billions. Bought the Patriots, kept them in New England. They didn't leave for St. Louis. Did all these negotiations, TV deals, got the league out of a lockout, the NFLPA. Did all of this. Did such good stuff.
Yeah.
Let football people make football decisions.
That's right.
And if I'm Mike Vrabel, that's what's important. And that's where the Bears can carry weight.
Right.
Kevin Warren is the president of football ops. Ryan Poles is a general manager. Football guys making football decisions. The McCaskies have their hands on things, but Ryan Poles, Kevin Warren make the big decisions.
There ain't no damn debriefs. And that's my point of the
That's the one I can see.
The cockiness of, well, we're just going to give Vrabel. Slow down on that.
Yep.
I mean, you just heard George. He'll want to pick his own front office. We know the staff. He'll pick his staff. That's fine. They're blowing all these guys out anyways. But he'll want to pick his own GM. He may not be able to do that if Elliot Wolf is here. He has a relationship with Robert Kraft. Jonathan Kraft is the future. What's that relationship with Vrabel like with the son? We'll see. I can't imagine Mike Vrabel's going to take this job. Or, by the way, any head coach with experience, any head coach who's been there, done that, has a T-shirt, they're not going to have debriefs with the Krafts. It's not going to happen after every game. You're going to meet with them. It's communicative, obviously. You're going to talk. But yeah, I'm not sitting down with you after every game and going over notes that you took in the suite. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So Vrabel or anyone isn't going to do that. That was one of the benefits for the Krafts to have a Jerod Mayo in there, someone who they can control, someone where they're involved in everything. So, look, if you're going to move off of that, which they have, you got to find a balance here. I understand the pendulum swung completely the other way. Bill Belichick was standoffish, grumpy, we're doing things my way or the highway, right? Jerod Mayo was so green, you could do whatever you wanted. I mean, he was a mouthpiece for you, right? You're running the organization through him. Now you got to find a happy medium somewhere. You got to meet in the middle. You need an experienced head coach like a Mike Vrabel who knows what they're doing, but you also need to stay the hell out of the way and not mess it up. Remember, we are interactive. Tweet at us using the hashtag NESN chat. The tweets kept rolling in here, George, of course. You know the peeps love Boston has entered the chat. Here's another one. At NESN, not a way to treat a Patriots alumni.
This isn't a way for an alumni to treat the franchise.
Explain.
I mean, the lack of leadership. You're throwing your assistant coaches under the bus.
Yeah.
You're throwing your general manager under the bus. You have no handle on anything.
Yeah.
And Jerod Mayo, again, I feel bad. He wasn't given the proper support. But this isn't how you handle that job. Not a way to treat a Patriots alumni isn't a reason to keep anyone for another season. And that blind loyalty is what got the team to this point.
Sure.
The blind loyalty by the Krafts to stick by their guy is why they're in this situation in the first part. I get it. Not a way to treat a Patriots alumni. Let's say Jerod Mayo is kept for next season, Trav.
Okay.
That seat's not hot. It's on fire week 1. And he's not making it to week 7.
Facts.
So this is the best thing you could do. On Monday night, Jerod Mayo had his presser. It was all 1 minute at that, answers everything he did.
Yeah.
He left, shook hands with the Krafts, shook hands with whoever, and they said, don't worry about tomorrow morning. You're good. Pat him on the back and let him go. That's the best way you could treat it this way. Hey, they could have went one of two ways, man. There's Joe Pesci in Goodfellas, and there's Joe Pesci in Casino.
Oh, my God.
Neither one's pretty, but there's one way everyone would prefer.
There was one respectable way.
There's one that's quick. You don't see it coming.
Listen, he was treated great. What are we talking about? This guy had no head coaching experience. Here you go. You're the head coach of the New England Patriots. Come on, people. This ain't the Carolina Panthers. No disrespect to the Panthers, but all disrespect to the Panthers. This is the New England Patriots. Are you kidding? The standard. So I think he was treated fantastic. Robert Kraft, you heard George, he handpicked him 5 years ago on a trip to be the next guy. Like, what do you want? He was in the organization. He learned, if you want to call that, coaching-wise from Belichick. Like, he was groomed for this job, and he got the job. What the hell else do you want? It didn't work. I told you heard what George said earlier. I was calling for his job week 6, and I was the biggest Jerod Mayo supporter.
You were the biggest one fan of his hire.
I was the biggest supporter there was. And a month in, I go, oh, whoa, this doesn't look good. He looks in over his skis. Every cutaway, every week of this guy. Every time we saw him on the sideline, ISO shot, he was lost as hell and confused. And like, what's going on? And then there were times in the game where I was like, oh, Jerod Mayo's got to lose his shack here. No, he wasn't. And then other times when I thought, maybe he'll be calm, cool, and collected, he was losing his shack. And I'm like, this guy, I can't figure this dude out. 6 weeks in, I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to work. They let him finish the season. They said everything right. We support him. He's going to be here. We support him. And I'm thinking, what the hell? How? You can't lose this many games in the NFL and keep your job. No other franchise is going to let you do that. I don't think the Patriots are either. And sure enough, I was right. They got rid of him. But he was treated great. What do you mean this is not how you treat an alum? Like, he was given every opportunity except for the talent aspect. But he was given every opportunity to grab this job and do the best that he could with it. And he didn't really do that. I mean, I guess he did. Maybe Jerod Mayo will tell you he did. But certainly the results were not there. I think he was treated just fine.
One more. This isn't a way to treat a Patriots alum. The Crafts from the jump didn't treat a Patriots alum the right way. Alex Van Pelt was their 9th or 10th offensive coordinator candidate.
Yeah.
And what were the reports that came out from guys that interviewed for that position? Very little football was discussed.
That's right.
With Jerod Mayo, Robin Glazer, Jonathan Kraft, and Robert Kraft. That's not how you treat a Patriots alum. Just the audacity that was in that building. So,
yep.
You know what? Actually focus on football. Let football people make the decisions. And bring in a head coach that can build out his staff, a GM that can build out his staff, and a head coach and a general manager that want to work together. Mike Vrabel's a Patriots alum. I hope the Crafts treat him the right way and give him the support he needs.
Absolutely. All right, look. I've already told you. Use the hashtag NESN chat and tweet at us. You've done that. Email us, thechat@nesn.com. We have some emails as well. But the other thing, George, the beauty of all the people who support Boston has entered the chat, they will make our hotline bling too. We have a voicemail. Our guy, Giorgio, called this show and left us a doozy. Let's hear from Giorgio now.
Hey, this is Georgia from Dorchester. Big fan of the show, guys. Just calling to talk Jerod Mayo firing. Listen, I think this is a great thing for the team. I think it's time that the Crafts finally bring in Mike Vrabel, who can harden this team up and take us to the promised land. It's time to start fresh and not go from the Bill Belichick coaching tree. I think a Bill Belichick player might be able to make the difference here. Just wanted to hear you guys' thoughts.
Man, I couldn't agree more, Giorgio. Vrabel immediately, just walking in your building as your new head coach, you're tougher.
Mm-hmm. You have culture.
You have culture. You have accountability.
Yep.
There's not going to be now. I think this will be a little more like Belichick as a coach, in that you're not going to get anything in the media from Mike Vrabel.
I think you will, but he'll fight back, which I'll
right.
take.
And that's where I was going to go here. He's not going to put his foot in his mouth like Jerod Mayo did.
Yeah.
But he's also not going to give you much, and he's damn sure gonna push back when you push, right? But I like that. But I will say this too. Did you see how Giorgio went? I feel like he wanted to cuss. I feel like he wanted to just say bleep Mayo. I'm so bleeping happy this is over. But thank you, Giorgio, for keeping it clean, because we are a family program. But
Maybe he was
Vrabel-
putting down his last chicken wing or something.
you think so?
I mean, it happened on NFL Sunday. You ever eat chicken and then you talk too close and then it comes back up?
Little
I think that's what
regurg
happened. Yeah, you
action.
have to keep it down.
Little regurg.
Look, that's where it's going to go. And you pointed out, the second he steps in, the seasons that he had with the Tennessee Titans, 9 wins, 11, 12, then went 7-10 and 6-11 at the end, with a washed-up Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback, with a situation where he was butting heads with the front office and with ownership. But what did the Titans always do? They overperformed. They overachieved. They overcompeted. And that's what you need a head coach to do, where the general manager gives you the roster. The head coach's job is to get the 53 best guys out of that roster and elevate them, whatever the players are. That's what a Mike Vrabel does. That did not happen at all this season. Drake May succeeded in spite of.
Yes.
Christian Gonzalez succeeded in spite of. But the rest didn't happen, and that's what you need for a head coach. It's culture. It's leadership. It's just showing structure. It's the basics and the bare minimum that you want, and a Mike Vrabel will get that. That's going to be the hot name. And Trav, I don't think a firing happens this quick after the season concluded. And I said, Jerod Mayo knew today was his last game as a head coach of the
called
Patriots.
that.
He knew today was the last game for him as a head coach of the Patriots. You don't make this decision that fast without knowing you're going for Vrabel. He's the big fish. Tomorrow morning, there's going to be one interview. Tomorrow afternoon, there's going to be another interview. Tuesday morning,
Offer.
Mike Vrabel's going to be interviewed.
Ooh.
Tuesday afternoon, Mike Vrabel's going to be announced.
All right, you're such a fortune teller. I have to ask you this. Is Mike Vrabel taking this job?
Yes. You have Drake May. When we talk about the rookie quarterbacks in this past class, if you took Drake May out and replaced him with Caleb Williams, would Caleb Williams have succeeded in this structure? Nothing against Caleb. I think he's going to be great, and I would not write off any rookie after one season. But Drake May's mental fortitude, I'm getting away from his talent and his ability, which we all saw. Drake May's mental fortitude, his compete, his leadership, his composure, that guy is a gamer. You have Drake May. You have a top 5 pick where you could go out and get an Abdul Carter, a freak on the defensive line where you need it. And guess what? Mike Vrabel, defensive background. $132 million in cap space. Alaric Jackson, left tackle, he's out there in free agency. Maybe trade back into the draft, get Jonas Avenea out of Arizona. That's your right tackle or your left guard, just like a Mike Onwenu. All of a sudden, you're rebuilding in the trenches. Can you go out and sign a T. Higgins or any receiver? Trade for one at that point. Mike Vrabel wants this job. He knows what he'd walk into every day. And he has the Kraft's ear where if he goes, I'll take the job, but I want a different front office, he'll call the shots.
Can I devil's advocate?
Of course. That's why I love you.
Patriots made the wrong decision taking Jerod Mayo as a head coach,
Okay.
passing up on Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
Is it possible that this franchise makes the wrong decision again? If you hire Mike Vrabel, which is really sort of an extension of a Belichick era, defensive-minded, tough
Yeah.
guy.
Never coached under him.
Okay.
Never coached
No, I'm
under
just
him.
saying. I'm just saying stylistically.
Want to add that caveat?
Just saying stylistically.
Okay.
Is Ben Johnson really the guy?
He's never...
Offensive-minded, Drake May, everything you just said about Drake May. You give this guy the opportunity. He has the cap space.
Yep.
He has a draft pick.
Yep.
He picks his staff.
Yep.
I mean, is it maybe you give another? I understand he's a rookie head coach, but he has way more experience than Jerod Mayo did. And we've seen the results from this guy, at least offensively. It brings you into the present day NFL, throwing the ball around the yard. Just saying. Devil's advocate.
When we watched on Sundays, we spent every Sunday,
Yep.
every Thursday
Yep.
together.
Yep.
It was awful, man. It was 18 long weeks. But what was it on the field? A circus.
Yeah.
This is bigger than getting the offensive mind in there. Who's your offensive coordinator going to be? Is it Josh McDaniels? Is it Wes Phillips?
Yeah.
Is it Tanner Engstrand,
Yeah.
who learned from Ben Johnson? Who's your offensive coordinator going to be? Right now, they need leadership. That's the most important thing for the Patriots. They need leadership. Because Bill Belichick was covering up a lot of deficiencies. As critical as I have been of him as a general manager, there's a reason this all fell apart like this. And Bill Belichick was doing a lot more than the Krafts will ever give him credit for as they go out and make their documentaries, but doing a lot more than we'll ever really ever be able to understand.
Tweet at us using the hashtag NESN chat. Email us, the chat at NESN.com. We got another one. How about this one from Hogan? Let's check this email out. Do you think Mayo knew this was his last game and went on purpose to screw over the Crafts? Also, do you agree with the firing? I personally was stoked when he was named successor, but soured on him towards the end of the season when I saw regression in every aspect of the team. Would love to hear your thoughts. We've already answered some of those, but do you think he won on purpose? I've seen this a lot on Twitter where people are suggesting that he was told to lose the game and he went out and won the game. I don't know if I believe that, but I would at least see where people could surmise that.
You know when the game was won for the Patriots? Bills are down 4.
Yeah.
3 minutes, 26 seconds left in the game.
Yeah.
They have 2 timeouts. It's 4th and 8 on their own 18, and they punted the ball. Look, Joe Milton did not know he was playing until right after kickoff.
Right.
And you could say maybe Alex Van Pelt was putting a little moxie behind his play calling. Maybe it was an FU to the Crafts. What I put as week 18 too, the Bears pulled off a magnificent fake punt return, which worked for a touchdown in their game. The play calling that we were seeing, Keenan Allen throwing passes, yeah, they're picked off. You will see a lot of coordinators put on an audition tape week 18. They know they're out. They got nothing to lose. Hey, here's a creativity I'll bring. I think that's what Alex Van Pelt was doing with Joe Milton, with Kayshon Boutte, with Javon Baker. Yeah, he was probably instructed, get us a number 1 pick. The Bills had their third stringers in. And why would Sean McDermott not want to lose a game? Why would you hand your divisional rival, who crapped all over you for all those years, why would you hand them the number 1 pick where they're going to trade back and they're going to build around this rookie quarterback that is Josh Allen light? Jerod Mayo probably tried to lose a game, but the Bills weren't going to make it any easier on him, too. They pulled Mitchell Trubisky because he was playing decent. Why else would they put Mike White in?
Right.
Yeah, no, I do think he knew this was his last game. I don't think he tried to win it as an FU to the Crafts.
Want the latest on the Patriots and the NFL? Want to hear more about the fallout from the Jerod Mayo whacking? Check out NESN's football podcast, Foxborough Rush. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else podcasts are found. All right, George, let's get into what's trending, and you know the drill. They're giving us 3 minutes. I was told it's because you talk too long. I always play by the rules. I just want you to know that.
I'm not even going to comment.
The 3-minute rule was instituted because of you, George, not me.
Oh,
I'm a perfect
crazy.
angel.
That's crazy. You're looking in the mirror right now as you say that.
All right, 3 minutes for these topics. Here we go. A fan travels 1,000 miles to see Saquon Barkley break the NFL rushing yards record, and he doesn't play. Oh, Lord. George, can you imagine?
Yeah.
You can imagine.
I mean, did they live under a rock? Did this fan know the implications? When did they buy the tickets? Like, everyone knew that Saquon Barkley wasn't going to play. Like, no matter what was said, everyone knew this was going to happen.
It was a record, George.
But they knew he wasn't going to play because the Eagles locked up their playoff spot. Nothing would be gained from this.
They thought they'd let him play to break the record, and they wanted to be there.
But the world knew Saquon wasn't going to play. It may have not been straight up etched in stone. You made a choice to travel 1,000 miles to go to East Rutherford, New Jersey. You put in that effort, you go better than somewhere than East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Oh, come on.
Yes. I have none.
No one loves Jersey more than you.
I have zero sympathy for them.
What?
Don't give me that. I traveled 1,000 miles to see you play. Why?
Okay.
Where are you traveling from?
I'm saying this.
It's 1,000 miles. You in the Midwest, Montana?
I'm saying this. I hear you, but I also understand that fan thinking, I get they're the number 2 seed or whatever they are, 3 seed, whatever the hell the Eagles are. But it's like, listen, this is a record. They're going to let him break the record.
It was reported earlier in the week.
What are you supposed to do? They're not going to sell the tickets. They're going to go. They've already committed.
You sell the tickets?
No. You commit in chance that maybe they play him and he breaks a record. I feel for this fan.
You didn't travel 1,000 miles to see Saquon break the record. You traveled 1,000 miles to watch the Eagles play the Giants. You probably bought these tickets however many months ago.
Facts.
Cool. Nice little regular season finale to witness.
You thought the sprinkle in would be Saquon breaking the record.
You know, a few weeks later, like we might see the record. And then for whatever reason, you skipped every single headline. No sympathy. No.
Sorry, fan.
We are in the information era. We know everything that's happening about anything.
It's true. It's true. You don't have a problem with sitting him, right? Big
No.
picture. Screw the record.
Well, I would love to see history. I think it speaks to how impressive that record is by Eric Dickerson, where Saquon would have needed 17 games.
Right.
17 games played to get to that
Yeah,
record.
because Dickerson
He's still
got
100
it
off.
in less games.
Yeah. Was his
Wow.
14?
Yeah, I don't know. Someone check us on that.
I got you.
It may have been. I mean, this isn't Eric Dickerson has entered the
My
chat
thing
anyway.
is,
No disrespect to
You
ED.
you made a decision like you want to see your 16 games.
16.
You want to see your Eagles play. You made the decision because if you're traveling 1,000 miles, you're coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
You made the decision to see a Daniel Jones, in theory,
Right,
led
in
Giants
theory.
team meet
In
the Eagles
theory.
in Week 18.
Yeah.
You made a decision to go to New Jersey on January 5th.
Right.
Let me tell you places I don't want to be January 5th.
Right.
Outside in New Jersey. You made those choices.
And this is coming from Mr. New Jersey.
I am the mayor of New Jersey.
All right, next one. Cowboys quarterback Cooper Rush. Okay, we got to get into this. Has a $500,000 incentive for playing at least 55% of snaps this season, and owner Jerry Jones decided to start who? Trey Lance for the first time. Now you're messing with Cooper's money. I mean, my goodness gracious. Cooper Rush was literally a couple drives away from hitting this incentive. Rush is only making, now only is relative, right? But for NFL quarterback money, he's only making $2.5 million. So he could have used that money, that $500,000 there. Okay, so in the other one, I defended the fan a bit. I can't defend Jerod on this one. I mean, come on.
Why not?
Now, I do understand the thought process of let's see what we got with Trey Lance. I get that.
Yeah, we wait till week 18 to see what we got with the Trey boy.
Thank you, Jerry. But play Cooper Rush. Let him get his money and then get him out of there.
No. See, here's the thing, Trav. I got 3 yachts
Well,
out
how
there.
many?
I got 3 yachts, one in the Gulf, one in the Mediterranean, and one in a location I cannot disclose. That $500,000, that covers the crew cost for 3 months. You know how long the summer
How
is?
long?
3 months. Look, Cooper, thanks for everything you've done. I named my first 3 children Cooper. Did you know that?
First 3.
I only know 2 of them exist. Thanks for everything you did. We're going to give Trey the go. I'm going to say $500,000. And you know why, really, Cooper? It's not me. It's not the yachts. It's that Dak wanted all that money. It's CD wanted all that money. So I'm not going to give you the $500,000. Let me tell you something. This is how you run a team because no one does it better than me. I do the whole damn effing thing. Look at what I built the Cowboys up to.
Whole damn effing thing.
I did the whole damn effing thing. I'll go out there and I'll put air in the balls if I need to save me a lick. To keep
Save you a what?
To save myself a lick to keep my yachts in the water. I got 3 yachts.
3 yachts and 3 kids named Cooper.
Hey, seriously, this is the difference between an owner like Jerry Jones and then the Buccaneers. They ran an extra play for
Yeah.
Mike Evans to hit 1,000 yards,
Yeah.
which kicked in a $3 million contract incentive.
Wow.
He made history with his 11,000-yard season, and he got a $3 million bonus. And you saw how the whole team reacted to Mike Evans once he broke that record. So, Cooper, remember that next time you complain. And you know what? It's not my fault. It's your agent's fault. He should have put 52% participation in that. 55? Why are you doing 55?
Not going to lie.
When I was 55, you know what I was doing, Cooper? I was owning the Cowboys. That's right, winning Super Bowls.
Not
Enough
gonna
of that.
lie, man. This is Boston has entered the chat. Is the only place in America
Or you get Jerry hopping on whenever he wants.
You get a co-host from Jersey, crapping on Jersey, and then in the next breath, he's giving you Jerry. By the way, Trey Lance, 20 of 34, 244 yards. He also rushed for 26 yards. Trey Lance looks like he could play. Might be a future there. Dak's a little expensive. Trey Lance.
You know what that says to me? 6th round pick.
Yeah.
I gave up a second for him. I'm gonna get a 6th back. That's called good GMing.
Thank you, Jerry. Hey, you can enter the chat too. Whether you have a question about your favorite team, you need life advice, or even if you just have something you need to get off your chest, we're here for you. Tweet at us using the hashtag NESNChat or email the chat at NESN.com. We want to hear from you. All right, George. I know it's Monday, but it's not a normal Monday, my friend.
Was it Black Monday?
Black Monday. There's going to be coaches getting whacked left and right.
Hey, this is Joe Pesci in Casino.
It really is, bro.
It's Joe Pesci. It's his brother.
Yeah, dog. Like, Jerod Mayo, he opened the portal, okay? Technically, he was Sunday. But Black Monday, it is on. So let's run down some of the people that we think that this is going to happen. We'll start with the Raiders. Antonio Pierce. Is he gone today?
I think so.
Me too.
They went 4-12. I mean, that team has nothing in momentum-wise building towards the future. They seem like a lost team. I mean, Mark Davis tried to overcorrect a mistake when he let Joe Piscotti, I believe is his name. I could be completely wrong on that. But was interim coach. Team loved him. Team won around him, but he let him leave. They hired a different head coach in Josh McDaniels, and that was a massive mistake. I think he overcorrected by keeping Antonio Pierce. Antonio Pierce wasn't ready for the job. I think he's gone.
Hey, it should be noted, as we talk about these usual suspects here, this is as the recording of this podcast. So what I'm going to do is, once all these coaches get fired, I'm going to go back and listen to this and pat myself on the back because I'm going to tell you all these guys are getting fired, okay? I'm with you. Antonio Pierce is out of there.
It's also, again, and it's, if you're the Crafts, it's why you fire Jerod Mayo.
Right.
It's who's out there. And you mentioned it. Is it Ben Johnson?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Maybe does someone give Wes Phillips a shot, a branch off the Kevin O'Connell coaching tree? Liam Cohn, just talking about the Buccaneers. He kept Baker Mayfield's resurgence on track. That's going to be a head coach out there, along with the Ben Johnsons. Who is out there? Who is it right now? A team with I think they're picking 6th overall as it stands right now. Yes, they're picking 6th. They need a rebuild. They got nothing at quarterback. They got Brock Barrett. This Raiders team is so lost, but I think they need a new head
They made
coach.
a mistake not getting a quarterback in the offseason, and that's when I knew Antonio Pierce was going to be a lame duck. I think he can actually coach, but when you go into the season with what they had at quarterback, Aiden O'Connell, Minshew, all that mess, it's not going to work out for you, and that's what happened there. I think Pierce will probably bounce back as a nice defensive coordinator and get his get another shot as a head coach down the line. Titans, Brian Callahan. This is an interesting one because I would look at it and think this guy's whacked because of how bad the Titans are. They have the number 1 pick, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
But you like him.
He comes from the Zach Taylor. I mean, he was with the Bengals from 2019 up until this past season. He was obviously the offensive coordinator for Joe Burrow from his rookie season until this past season. But, yeah, they went 3-13. He didn't draft Will Levis. He didn't, construct this roster outside of this past offseason. They're rebuilding the offensive line. They're bringing in weapons. They trade away DeAndre Hopkins. The issue could be that Rand Carthen, the GM, his seat may be hot with the miss on the Will Levis draft pick and the issues they have on defense as well. But you don't bring in an offensive-minded coach to give him 1 year and get him out. Titans are picking number 1 overall. They do need a quarterback. They have a lot of needs. I think Callahan is safe. It was a team with a multi-year rebuild. Like Will Levis was a question mark.
They have some pieces too, right? With Pollard, Ridley. I get it.
Oh, now you're giving Tony Pollard.
Well,
credit.
it's a piece. If I'm a coach, and I'm thinking, okay, at least I have a running back. I don't think he's great. My issue with you is you make him out to be Eric Dickerson in 16 games with the record.
I never did.
Okay, that's what you make him out to be.
Enough of that.
Saquon's going to break Tony Pollard's record, according to you.
It's also that good players on the back end, good players on the defensive line like Jeffrey Simmons, Devondre Sweat, Sebastian Joseph Day.
Yeah.
Good offensive line with J.C. Latham. Playing at left tackle, and you said it, like a Calvin Ridley, a Chiga Okonkwo.
Yeah,
there are pieces guys there. Yeah, this was a multi-year always.
Well, here's where it's going to tell me if this guy can coach or not. If he can get on a phone and convince Shedeur Sanders to come to Tennessee, because my gut tells me him and his dad are going to say, we ain't going.
Yeah.
And then I just wonder, do they draft a Cam Ward or what? So I want to see Callahan. Can he convince this kid to come play there in Tennessee? Because I would have to imagine he doesn't want to do that. All right, the Colts, Shane Steichen. At first glance, I thought there's no way they're going to fire this guy. But, I mean, if you just fans are fans, right? I get it. But Colts fans are sick and tired of being sick and tired. They want him gone. They want Ballard gone. They want Irsay gone. Can't fire an owner. But they want an exorcism for everybody. They want the whole damn place cleaned out. Now I'm thinking Steichen might be gone.
The next season would be year 3 for him.
Give him 1 more year?
I think Chris Ballard is gone. He's been there for 8 years, and he keeps pointing to, I didn't know Andrew Luck was going to retire when he did. All right, it's been 8 years.
Right.
And in a wide open division that I think is the worst in football, they haven't won it since Chris Ballard's been general manager.
Right.
Shane Steichen's not bad. Like, what can you do when you're given such a bad quarterback? I think a change in the front office happens. Do they want to keep Steichen? I personally would, because if you're winning games with Anthony Richardson as your quarterback. That says a lot about your team. But that defense is terrible. That's why I think a new GM comes in, but I think the head coach stays in Indy.
Jaguars, Doug Peterson, gone. Let's not even waste time.
Wait, hold on real quick. We can't let this go by. Sorry about my cough. We just listed the Titans, the Colts, and the Jaguars. What do all three teams have in common?
Say it again. Titans, Colts, and Jaguar. Oh, they're all in that stupid division.
How nuts is that?
That's crazy. I mean, good for D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah,
right?
Him and C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
They got to keep increasing that gap.
Right.
But this division is really bad.
Yeah.
And again, since Chris Ballard has been GM,
right.
the Colts have not won that division once. And this is Jaguars, Titans, and Texans we're talking about. Reason these teams are picking top of the draft all the time.
All right, I'm going to sit back and let you carry this one. Giants, Brian Daboll. Because I think the guy can coach. He got you to a playoff game with Daniel Jones and won it. That's all I needed to see. And I look at the organization as the problem. I think Daboll can coach his arse off. Do you think he's fired?
This one I go back and forth on. I'm going to say no. I think him and Joe Shane, their jobs are safe. What Brian Daboll did with Josh Allen in Buffalo is what got him this New York Giants job. But Brian Daboll wasn't the one that said, let's go ahead and give Daniel Jones the absolute world. John Mara made that decision. The tough thing is, they're picking third, but the Titans and Browns right in front of them need quarterbacks. Easily the Titans could go Shedeur Sanders. To your point, let's see if he wants to pick.
Yeah.
Maybe the Titans, they go, you know what? We'll wait till next year's draft when maybe a Drew Aller's in there. Let's trade back, get more picks. Let the Raiders move up to one. They want Shedeur Sanders.
Right.
The Browns are the wild card. I could very well see them taking Cam Ward at 2. But if Cam Ward falls to 3, with how they rebuilt the offensive line, they have Malik Neighbors, they built up this defensive line, they need to add pieces in the secondary, they need to add a solid wide receiver too for whatever quarterback they have play. I think Daboll stays because that is the head coach, the play caller, the developer you'd want if you draft a Cam Ward. But what happens in front of them? And a lot of information is going to change between now and then.
Okay.
I think Brian Daboll is safe.
I do too.
If Brian Daboll is fired, that's the OC I want.
Oh, Vrabel head coach, Daboll OC.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, with Drake May.
And then if you bring in, if Mike Vrabel brings a Tommy Rees with him from Cleveland to New England, and then Tommy Rees learns from Brian Daboll. Now I think the Crafts will try to push Josh McDaniels, but does Vrabel want McDaniels? And that gets into building your own staff.
All right.
I'm just saying in general, Brian Daboll's the OC I want because he has a head coaching experience, he has a play calling experience. He's a really good developer, man.
Okay,
I think he's great.
Okay,
because you're not going to. Ben Johnson's a head coach. If
yeah, okay. I like your Daboll call. The other guy I take as offensive coordinator is my next question to you. Browns Kevin Stefanski.
Man, I like him. I would love for him to get fired to free him from Cleveland and the Haslams.
He's fired. You got to blame.
I don't know. It sounds like the Haslams are bringing him back.
I don't think so.
They fired their offensive coordinator and Ken Dorsey, and they fired their tight ends coach. Those are the fall guys. You wouldn't fire the OC and tight ends coach. You would just fire the head coach. So I think Stefanski is safe. And again, Travis, I wish he wasn't. I want him to be fired. I want him to go be an offensive coordinator somewhere. And then I want him to once again be a head coach where he doesn't have to answer to the Haslams and he doesn't have to deal with Deshaun Watson in his building. So, But I think he's safe just how that went down.
All right. And finally,
I only have one guy fired. No, 2. No, I have 2. Doug Peterson and Antonio Pierce.
You could tell we're different. I think everyone's gone.
Give me another.
Cowboys, Mike McCarthy. I think he's done enough. He's safe. That's the one guy I won't fire.
Why?
Because he coached better without Dak. I'll be honest with you. I think you could argue. Now, he's got a Super Bowl, so let me slow down on saying this is the best coaching job he's ever done. This is one of the best coaching jobs he's ever done.
With a team that couldn't run the ball, an offensive line that couldn't block, and a defense that couldn't get stops.
And that you would think would quit on the season. They did not quit on him. They were in these games. They won more games than you thought. I think McCarthy did, and I'm not a McCarthy guy. I think he's a moron. Yeah. However, I think he did a stellar job. I think he's back, which is great for all of us who don't like the Cowboys because they will continue to be mediocre.
I think he's back because Jerry likes to stick with his guys way too long.
Sure.
You remember how long I stuck with Jason Garrett?
Jared's back.
Look, when I am right, I am right. And I am telling you that I am right.
Yeah.
And this is what I'll tell you about that.
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy is staying. Mike McCarthy is good. I'm declaring it. Boston has entered the chat. Mike McCarthy, like a fat pig rolling around in mud, could not be happier than in Dallas. And for that reason, Mike McCarthy is staying. Because I'm the best GM, best owner ever.
That's how I know you ain't country, because it's slop. But whatever.
Is it?
It's okay. The NBA season is here, and the big question is, will the Celtics repeat and claim banner 19? You can find everything about the NBA and its culture on NESN's basketball podcast, Hold My Banner. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else podcasts are found. All right, George. Well, the Patriots inexplicably win and fumble the first pick of the draft.
Yeah.
Now they're picking fourth. Whoop-de-doo.
Exactly where they don't want to be.
What to do?
Again, as I said earlier, who's going to be picking 1 overall? Will it be the Raiders? Will it be the Jets? Teams that need a quarterback. If it goes Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, the key thing is what happens right in front of them. Do the Giants go with Travis Hunter, where they need a good corner desperately? They need to help out their secondary. They have a great D-line. They need a corner. And what I say, they need a wide receiver too. Third down, red zone, put him in with Malik Neighbors. Those are 2 elite weapons. Or do they go with an Abdul Carter, a Mason Graham? There's a lot of pieces at that. Do they go Tate McMillan and get a wide receiver 2 next to Malik Neighbors? I don't think so. Because at 4, it could just be go best available, like an Abdul Carter, where the Patriots desperately need a pass rush.
I think he'll be there.
And Abdul Carter is a freak. I think he'll be there at 4 too. He'll be gone by 6, but I think he'll be there at 4.
I do too.
If Travis Hunter's there, if I'm them, I would go with that. The tough part and why I think it was so important for them to get 1, not just to trade back and get more picks, but put themselves in a position. When I did the mock, I had them going to 4, taking Travis Hunter, but with an extra second-round pick, getting back into the first and getting an offensive lineman like a Jonas Savaiinaea out of Arizona. This is worst-case scenario for the Patriots. No matter what, Jerod Mayo is getting fired, but now they're picking 4th instead of 1. They have so many holes on this roster. They needed that number 1 overall pick to get more draft assets. At 4, they have to cross their fingers and hope it's either Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter that make it to them.
I don't think either one of them. Abdul Carter will be there. I don't think he's a pick. I think Shadeur's going 1. Cam Ward's going 2. I think Travis is going to the Giants. Congratulations to him landing in the Big Apple. I think the Patriots are taking Will Campbell out of LSU. I think they're going offensive line.
No. I think this is why they're in the worst spot, because if they take Will Campbell, he's projected as a guard. That's an awful reach. If they take Calvin Banks, he has his question marks.
Yeah.
What do they do in free agency? That'll dictate a lot if they do it for. I don't think they go Will Campbell at all, though.
By the way, before we end the show, congrats on your engagement, my friend.
Man. Thank you, bro.
Congratulations. Can you tell us the engagement story? Every great engagement has an engagement story. No pressure. We only have 30 seconds.
There was the buildup of the flu ran through my fiance's family leading up. So I had a big elaborate celebration after. I had to call off last minute, but that's fine. Look, day of, I was as nervous as could be. Couldn't eat, and you know I love my food.
Yes.
But thanks to the planning from her sisters, my fiance thought she had a photo shoot in Charlestown. Little did she know, all of a sudden a violin started playing Planetarium from La La Land, her favorite song. She turned around and said, "Why is that song playing?" And she saw me bawling, crying, flowers in hand, got down on one knee, almost forgot to say, "Will you marry me?" But did it, and we did on Mount Vernon Street, where when we first started dating, we'd always take walks there with coffee in the morning and look at the brownstones, and that's where we got engaged. So, and you know how I know she's a 1T? New Year's Day, we're walking to breakfast in Charlestown, going up Sullivan Street, and I see this yellow house with white trim and black shutters. She always says she wants that. And I go, "Babe, look, it's a yellow house with white trim and black shutters." As I'm saying this, I walk into a cement pole with my face.
Watch out
I
now.
stopped. I was like, I have no idea what happened. I look, I see a cement pole. Walked into it so hard, the sign was shaking. I turn around. She's on the floor crying, laughing. Didn't ask if I was okay. Crying, laughing. And that's how I know she's a 1. Because I'd rather you laugh at me than go, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm fine. I just need to laugh it off.
Well, we all congratulate
Appreciate
you, my
you, man.
friend.
She's
We
unlucky.
love here on Boston Has Entered the Chat. For Travis Thomas and George Valecki, thank you all for rolling with us again. Till next time, peace.